Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore. Wait a minute, this music isn't right, the scene isn't right. Hang on. That's more like it. And now it's time for the show for all creatives. Nevermind the Furthermore. Your source for conversation, inspiration, and fun. With your host, Nicholas Anthony Tockert. He's an artist, a writer, a swordsman, and a game designer. He knows how to use the sword and axe in historical battles without anybody getting hurt too much. He's also the Manatee Man, master of marketing. And he may even have a guest or two. One thing, though, to be certain. Just don't call him a cryptid. With that, it's about time for the show. So sit back, enjoy, and have some coffee and chat with us.
Good morning, Nevermornings. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert, coming at you with slightly distressed camera duties on a lovely Wednesday morning. We are in the last hump day of the year, so I hope you get your hump day on. Now, before we get into all the goodness that you guys know, you love, you expect, please let's reach out to the folks that make us possible. Joe Bachman Technologies at bit.ly/JBTechApps, who keep the lights on and the StreamYard running for you. Creator of indcd.org, the Independent Creator Directory, which is a wonderful place for you to get a safe online presence that isn't quite as affected by the instability of social media that seems to be plaguing us of late. So, if you're looking to find creative workers, authors, artists, people to write music for you, if you are looking to put yourself out there, this is a great place to do it. We want to make indcd.org the place to be. So I'm proud to support that little project. We're also made possible by sales of the Big Stompy Robots line of books and games. A whole lot more is coming in this universe for 2023. Of course, you know it. You love it. And guys, the new year is coming. So let's just stop and think about that. And we're going to talk about that today a little bit, maybe into the Friday episode. But what do you want for yourself? Do you want to get in shape? Do you want to be more active? Do you want to maybe learn a new skill? If only there was a way. I recommend The Simple Sword by Nicholas Anthony Tockert. Yes, The Simple Sword by me is a comprehensive taking you from so you've never picked up a sword to being able to teach others book. This is a one-stop shop for everyone who wanted to learn to sword fight and thought they couldn't. It is geared towards people who may have physical limitations, people who don't have a lot of money. This is the foundation upon which I have built the Historical Fencing Guild. And like every good foundation, it needs more attachments. One does not live on a foundation alone. So I did the Fighting Axe, a much requested manual on just understanding the rudiments of how to make an axe go, both as a tool and as a weapon, and of course, the simple spear. the third book in the series thus far. This gives you insight to a 500,000 year tool with techniques dating back before humanity existed. This is a really cool way to learn the basics of spear fighting. So please look into that. Also, follow this, like, share, and subscribe, because I am trying to promote a lot of people. I do my spiel at the beginning, and then it's about getting everybody else's message out there, helping folks and promoting. We're going to talk about what we're going to do in 2023. We're going to talk about accountability, and we're going to keep right on hopping and popping. So before I go into you guys' stuff, let's talk about my accountability. I've been doing some background writing on a couple projects. I had hoped to have them out by before 2021. However, the illness in my family and this ice storm caused some supply issues for some of my medications. So I've had to deal with the physical reminders of how far I've come, because some of the pain negation and function enhancement has been just turned off for a little while. I am okay. I'm just not well till the stuff gets built back up in my system, and I'm actually going to be going out after this program to acquire more. But I have a lot of partial projects that I had to delay for contract work this year, and contract work, because I need the money, has to come first. But you won't see the fruits of that till later. I'm really looking forward to seeing how people like T Bunny and Buddy Lord, who I met through Twitter, do the completely unique. I made a whole engine for it. A system called Writer's Rule. This game is going to be incredible. They basically came to me with a half page of, we want something that does this, and I gave them a game. And they're now adding, last I saw, they were adding fluff to it, adding art and format and such. I really need to find out what's going to become of that, because I'm fascinated. We also, of course, helped. I did the game design for Jody McPhee's new wrestling game. If he ever stops trying to add to it, it should come out very soon. It's a neat project to see. Very different from my usual bailiwick. I learned a lot on it. And of course, Luke Stone's Hybrids, the Sons of God. The quick play role-playing game has been out for a while, but the full version is in layout right now. They are making it pretty like they were supposed to. And we shall see. You can get that at information on that at igg.me at Hybrids RPG. It also likely, assuming it goes all goes well, be a part of the fundmycomic.com project that Luke Stone is putting out as an alternative to Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So there's a lot going on there. I am sad to announce that from what I'm hearing, the RPG has already been shadow banned by Indiegogo. I have to fully confirm this, and I'm hoping stuff can be done, but it may just be that they're doing you can't search it, and they're not going to promote it. That's probably due to Luke's associations, because I'm not well enough known to have any associations for anyone to be burning me over. That's not a bash on Luke. That's just Indiegogo apparently is making choices, and when a company makes major choices, we deal with it. This is just like the changes in administration at Twitter. This is just like the changes in administration all over the place. I used to be a big Halo Infinite fan. Till after a year, they're releasing things that should have been out day one. So I'm a little salty this morning. But guys, you don't need salt. You need a little sweetness on this. So let's spin it up, let's ramp it up, and let's get beyond the grump. Uh the other thing I wanted to talk about is had a wonderful time in the chat for Michaela's Tidbits and Scribbles. I don't usually make it into the chat for those because of scheduling, but her new scheduling's working out a little differently. So it was really fun to see a very familiar panel, and especially to see our own Brian K. Morris up and about in person. It always makes my day. Whenever I get to see either of my Brians, Brian K. Morris or Brian Rodman, on a panel, it does my heart good for very different reasons. But I have prattled, and I need to run a quick commercial, and then we will talk about some new stuff. Oh, yes, we will definitely talk about some new stuff. But let's open up the day. I think we're going to open up the day with a special one of my favorites.
Hi, this is Kat. During the school year, I'm Mrs. Rothermel, but otherwise, I'm Rock and Roll Art Goddess, writing about my past and filming the present. I need you to join my Rock and Roll Art army and to check out my merch on Zazzle.com. What started out as journal therapy is now 4 books, I see, and an Instagram account to blow off steam, becoming a book, with another to do the same. A short film for a friend. No, this is not the end. Peace, love, and let me art.
Yes, folks. Hashtag Let Cat Art is one of the best things to come out of 2022. And I want to know what's coming up. What's the best to come out of 2022 for you? And we'll do, maybe we'll do that more tomorrow. Tomorrow, maybe. Not tomorrow. I'm sorry. Tomorrow I'll be on Nerd Bacon at this time, probably with my hand and with my head in my hand, going, Luke. But Friday on Nevermind the Furthermore. But I want to know, what's coming down the pipe that you're excited about? What did you learn most in 2022 to help move us forward? And of course, talk about your projects. Now, that's my planned conversation. I am sorry about the disaster that is my hair. That may be addressed shortly as well. But let's get through the comments. I want to give you guys a good jump today. So we're first joined by Donna. Hey, Donna, how you doing? What? I beat Joe B. Cool. Michaela, yay, I got here before it ended. I had a lot of fun commenting in your program, MJ. It was great times. LOL, you even made it before it started. Wow, you ladies are in here early. Yes, just Carl and a couple ladies. How did I manage to get up at 5 a.m., get out on the road, drive to various places? I'm still not awake yet. I must have been younger then. Oh, I know that feeling. Or I'm spoiled now. Yes to both. Accountability. We appeared on Michaela's Tidbits and Scribbles last night. A great episode, still on YouTube. Great fun. There was. And oh yes, I've done some art, and I started doing some speed comic design just to try to get back into the flow. It's on my phone. Those will be up shortly with the usual spread. There's also some artwork that's out. Still not accountable. Darling, we don't hold you accountable. You have other bosses for that. Good morning and happy hump day, everyone. Good morning, Joe. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Keep up that dental hygiene. Hey, Joe, that's an inside joke. Don't worry about it. I'm on vacation this week, which is why I'm not here before everyone like usual. Wonderful. Get some sleep. Hey, Joe. Morning. Okay, we got greetings. Greetings. Great show last night. Carl, run off a coffee before the short show starts. Sure thing, going now. Thanks, Joe. It was a great show, especially having the bigger audience. You're so wonderful, Carl. Aw, they're adorable. I have this thing. I like married people that actually like being married. It's a funny thing. How do I want to put this? I have a lot of gay friends. I have a lot of LGBTQ alphabet soup friends. And that's not me being rude. That's me knowing that an acronym that long that I can't turn into a word is going to bungle fast in my head because I love everybody. But that being said, they've asked, aren't straights okay? Because all you hear is, I hate my wife. Well, yeah, then you get divorced. I wonder what. But no, I love hearing what real love looks like, and real love is kind of grizzled. Real love is a veteran of combat because the world really tries to bash real love. Uh, it takes it's sacrifice and it's giving, and I see that in a lot of the couples here that I respect that. That tells me all the reasons uh, I'm in the right place because I'm going to tell you, folks, if folks don't have what you want on a general keel of their life, you don't belong there. You know, uh, I never, wanted the life of the executive who might be fooling around with the secretary on the side or whatever that was pitched to me in the 80s and 90s. Look, it was a different time. Don't worry about it. So I didn't go that route. I don't hang around with a lot of those people. I really do. If I see somebody who's always having relationship troubles, both friend and emotion, dating and stuff, it does make me wonder where the point of instability is. And they may be doing things in their life that I don't want. A lot of times substances are involved. But what I see here is love and respect. And it's gruff. They wouldn't say that because they're much too cool for that sort of thing. But that's what they're about. And I dig it. Thanks, Joe. You helped make it so. Thanks, Joe. I'm so glad the audience enjoyed it too. We really did. And I tried to do my thing where I ask provocative, useful questions to get the experienced panel speaking. It's motivated me to think about doing better next year. I probably won't, but I will think about it. I have a lot of plans for next year. LOL, Carl. And we're joined by Blue Teddy. Hi, Blue Teddy. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Blue. Morning, folks. Oh, that spelling of folks takes me way back. Good morning, Blue Teddy and Rich. Accountability. Cleared up and organized my writing folder on the hard drive. Got 100 more words into Where the Where, noodling a couple shorts to get in the headspace for the fire. Good. Great, Rich. Very nice, Rich. Hey, Rich. Was working on Who Am I and why the heck you should read a book I'm writing about werewolves. If you aren't sure you have enough name brand, be as mysterious as possible. Who am I? That's not important. I could barely hear Nick over the music. Oh my. I'm not sure what music you're listening to. Hey, Nick. Good morning. Hey, Grant. And I know some people probably put in some new stuff because I've been asking for commercials. I will check that today, probably after the show. It just, with my internet, sometimes I have to download and re-upload it where I want it, so it can be a little challenging. We will get it up there, though. Hey, Grant. Nick is wearing a shirt to bait the fruit ninjas out there. Yes, this is one of my favorite shirts. This is not one of my new Christmas shirts. I got 2 new Christmas Hawaiian shirts. I wore one Monday, and I will wear the other Thursday, that being tomorrow, on Nerd Bacon because it's very comic oriented. Let's see. Printed out a lot of old stuff for The Fire to look over and see if I still want to go there. He's taunting me. Hi, Carl. The really simple spear, axe, sword, pointy, sharp bit goes into the bad guy. Unless you are the bad guy, then it goes into the good guy. My job is not to judge the morality of the wielder. It is to try to influence it as much as possible. What? No, I would never do something like that. Let's see. Hey, Grant. If you're the bad guy in the good guy's eyes, it makes you the good guy in your eyes. Are the good guys actually the bad guy in your eyes? So you're Alfred Bester from Babylon 5. Does that mean that the sharp pointy bit just sits in the middle between two people then? If you're doing it right, you're keeping the metal between the meat. Hey, Donna. Good morning. I'll be back. I have to feed the cats. Mooney and Stitch are freaking out. I understand. Hi, Joby. If you think you're the good guy and the other guy's the bad guy, if you think you're the bad guy, it makes the other person the good guy. Sometimes they're the worst guy. No, I get this. I can't say it, but I get it. So, and then sometimes you're the good guy who has to be the bad guy to prevent the worst guy from being a problem. Good evening. Can't stay long. Hope you had a good Christmas. Yeah. Good morning, evening, Boncert Vocal. Since you've walked through the door, let's throw one of your ads up and give everybody a chance to catch up after that lovely goodbye, good guy, bad guy, goodbye. Let's run this one.
Greetings, fellow traveler, and welcome to the Association of Ishtar, a multiverse of cosmic mystery and steampunk adventure. The Association of Ishtar is a clandestine organization of volunteers investigating anomalies called rifts, portals to other worlds where anything is possible. Most of these planes are but savage variations of Earth, but some are home to advanced civilizations or the occasional alien beings beyond human comprehension. Every day, these brave men and women are risking their lives by crossing the fringes of reality. Should they succumb, they will die in obscurity. But it's not the Associate's vocation to perish, but to seek out and gather information on the copious threats lurking beyond the rifts to ensure humanity can overcome. After all, those who pry prevail.
That's right. The Association of Ishtar is a wonderful steampunk multiversal adventure. And one of the neatest sites you can find. Right up there with Apphilian.com, although that's just the ultimate rabbit hole. If you step into Apphilian that's run by Dan Hallfield, you might not come back. Worlds upon worlds, places upon places, and someday I might even get into that whole mess. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see now. Where were we? We were talking to Bonzert, who was kind enough to come by. Good evening, Bonzert. Hey, Bonzert. Please think about putting a like on this episode. Thanks. Yeah, you know what? It would be appreciated. Oh, the previews catalog with Beowulf is out. Now, see, it's interesting because I'm hearing the diff. I love that. Okay, let me rewind because I got a couple false starts. I love that I associate across political and ideological boundaries because I can travel in a great many circles. That Beowulf is in previews is a huge deal, and I love that you get to be excited about it. Now, I've heard several people get very against that. That's driving me nuts. This has to be removed. But where is your guys? And I'm curious about this too. So you feel free to answer any of the questions I ask you. Because what people haven't realized is I always have guests on my show. That's why you should turn on the live chat and see all, because the chat is my guest. I want to hear what you have to say. Some people don't see the previews the distribution route as a stepping stone. Grant, and rightfully so. Anything that moves you closer to your goals, I feel, is very important. And I'm not a sour grapes kind of guy one way or the other. What is the next stepping stone? And we talk a lot about the ultimate goal. For example, Brian K. Morris's ultimate goal is to make enough money to bring Cookie home so that she doesn't have to work. I respect that. My ultimate goal is to get as many of the stories out of my head while making enough money to put it aside to have a legacy, for my son, hopefully to set up something that has royalties that when I pass, he will have income that can be monitored for him. That's what my mission is in all this. It's also, and that's not my creative mission. Well, it depends. I think I may be more of a YouTube focused individual than a lot of people, not for the likes, shares, and monetization, although boy, would that be nice. But for having a platform to do this, because that's what I want to do. I love, guys, I almost get high on seeing people succeed and knowing that, like, here, boom, that I've been able to help. It's not the credit. It's one thing. It's not, look, they went somewhere. I made that. It's the validation that not only is my existence worthwhile, but the work is worthy. It is doing service to others. That matters to me. And it's something that on the rough times I can look back and go, yeah, there is good that has been done. Here is what I've done to help it. I don't know if that makes sense. But, so my goals get very nebulous and hard to explain to people. But some of you have much more clear-cut goals. And I do find that clear-cut goals that have steps, so lots of little sub-goals, make it easier to accomplish things. So what are the next little goals you have that are going to help you get where you want to be? Nice. Next year for me is more learning, more Kindle Vella stories, and more fun. That's a great approach. That is a splendid approach. And frankly, I respect the heck out of it, Michaela. If you stop at your local comic store, don't make a special trip. But if you're there anyways, say, do you know about this comic called Beowulf? It's on page 311. I get it. And if you are that, I'll be honest, I currently only buy my comics either directly from the creators or from Ollie's. So I don't think you are in a place where you want your comics showing up at Ollie's yet. But maybe you do. I don't know. My PA and I are building a contest for the month of January. If you're not part of my reader group, you really should be. Okay, we'll have to look into that. I married my best friend. Most days we still like each other. LOL, just kidding. No, that's okay. That is okay. Because that's the kind of humor that makes it through. Joe says, my wife says I'm great for a first husband. Well, if it helps, Joe, it might not be in sequence, in series, it may be parallel. You guys have, the world is changing. I don't know. I just want people to be happy. LOL, Joe Buckman. Sorry, that was 1,000, not 100 words for more. Oh. I was going to ask for some help from Lydia, but looks like she's still feeling a little spirited from setting up for the employee holiday party. I understand. You just hydrate on whatever you hydrate on, Lydia. Except my neck. Don't even get creepy. Oh, there goes my pen. 1 second. Ah! Well, that's something. Anyhow. Oh, wow, boom. No, I'm not trying to bait or taunt you. Found a lot of old stuff. I made some choices and changes, so I had to look back where it went to see how much of it is still usable. I understand, but folks love it when I twitch. I know how you all are. Funny Joby. Yeah, Rich, sometimes things need work. Sometimes they just have to sit there until other projects are done. Affiliate also has a cool Writer's Challenge page with a bunch of stories kernels for you to take and run with as you please. You guys all have noble goals. Well, thank you, Grant. My goal is just to tell stories I like. That's plenty noble. There's nothing wrong with that. Every day not spent in a cubicle is a win for me. Exactly. Noble goals, Carl Witzman says. Not me. I just want to attract red-haired female groupies. Well, live the dream, you know? That's a great attitude, Grant, but what can you avoid that makes you happy? That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. Sometimes it's I am not in retail, I am not working fast food, and I am not a janitor outside of my own home. These are big things for me. I'm avoiding having to put my son back into places that may not treat him as well as they should have. You know, I guess my take on the world because of experiences, if I'm not careful, it can be very dark. And that's part of why I tend to wear bright clothing. It's why I keep myself upbeat, because I look at what the world needs. And the world, to me, does not need any more growling, dark, snarling anti-heroes, you know? We need some folks who still believe in kindness and truth and mercy and justice and self-sacrifice. And the world needs heroes, and not necessarily heroes of the body, but heroes of the spirit, heroes of the mind. Those who aren't afraid to stand up to the narrative and go, no, there is still hope. No, you can have dreams. We are not machines. And when I find folks like that, I support them, because I'm just trying to hold the line until the heroes get here. I believe some people are main characters, you know, and I've met them. You ever meet somebody who's truly a main character? You know what I'm saying? In life, like they exude a light, and it's almost like you can feel destiny bending around them. And you know, the power in what they do and say. And you look at them and go, you can move mountains if you'll believe in yourself. Those are the interesting people. And I'll let you have a hint. Some of them are in the chat today. And my job is just to try to help you guys get where you need to be. That's my philosophy. As an instructor, as an assistant, as somebody building people up, I take the philosophy of the footstool. I just want to help folks get one higher level higher. And I believe you guys can get so much higher in your pursuits of success, of joy, that if I've done my job, I should be relatively easy to forget, because I won't be necessary. It's called planned obsolescence. And in an instructor, it means they're doing their job. Because as a sword master, I want people, one of my primary goals is for them to be able to consistently beat me. And without me letting them. And if they can move on to somebody who can make them much better than me, that's me passing the buck. So that's why I love seeing folks who I get to plug their shows here, and then I see them show up on much bigger programs, with more more eyes on them, and they just keep moving up. That's what I want for all of you. I want all of you to succeed, to get enough notice that you meet with your customers, you meet with your readers, you meet with the people who can get you where you need to go. Good morning, Cindy Koepp. You get to remote work this week, but we're joined by Cindy, so let's run her ad. Cindy does incredible things. And I want to put a huge shout out to Cindy because I did actually unwrap the Christmas present that she sent me. And I have a lovely set of Stellarii. It's right here. And oh my, guys, the game, I'm not going to talk too much about the game until I've played it a whole lot and I can give a full review. But the quality of these chips she selected is just incredible. I mean, I'm really going to have to look up the pricing for something like this because I had thought about doing a Big Stompy Robots 2-dimensional or 2.5D. These chips are just, they, I may be going a little ADHD, a little autistic or something on this, but the tactile sensation of these chips is just so good. What? I'm sorry, I'm not as good at the chip flip as I used to be, and I don't know if I can still do it. Yeah, I'll have to work on it, but this is good physical therapy for my hands, technically occupational therapy. I'll get there. Given that I've been without my nerve meds a while, I'm doing a lot better. So let's keep trucking. Accountability. Yes, Joe. What's your accountability? Fall and winter 2017, early spring, summer 2018 are done for Tales of the Highway Volume 2. Working on a late summer, fall 2018. Currently still plugging away at the coding. Wonderful. Joe's ongoing pseudo biography of misadventures happening while working on construction sites and snow plowing is a fascinating look into a part of the world we take for granted, as is his YouTube channel / TikTok channel. So be sure to follow Joe. I'm serious. He does neat stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. Don't forget to tip your host. Well, if you insist. If you wish to tip me, you can paypal.me/Nicholas Tockert. Any donation will be gleefully received and privately or publicly thanked. And if you guys want me to make a deal over it, throw some money at me. I will gladly make a deal over it. Boom. Let's see, where are we? Back here. Almost. There we are. Don't forget to. And get Big Stompy Robots to wield simple swords, fighting axes, and simple spears. Amazon.com/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert. That's me. Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. The Historical Fencing Guild. We have a lot to talk about this week. It's going to get fun. Which reminds me, I have something I have to film. Thank you, Cindy. I needed that because I almost forgot. I was issued a bit of a challenge. deviantart.com/Nick T for fun art. Grant, I will be at our local comic book shop this month. I will ask them about it. Thanks, Michaela. Patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild to help Nick do stuff. Yes, that's another thing that will be getting a full revamp in 2023. There's that. Get your own neuroses, Amazon.com/Amy Hale. And you know what? I don't think I've ran her ad in a while. So let's run Amy Hale's ad real quick. Because you guys would want me to run yours. Amy Hale's putting out a lot of stuff, and I admire anyone who fights that hard. Speaking of fighting hard, it's never too late to get irreverent holiday humor. Smashwords.com/book search Ryan K. Morris. And yes, she's talking about Santa Stein, the post-holiday Prometheus, giving life to the spirit of giving. Woo! Get all the vintage Batman sound effects on Amazon.com, Brian K. Morris. Support bearpublications.com for more fun stuff from them. Grant says, I don't want to work for one of the big four companies. I wouldn't even know where to begin with writing other people's stories. That's an interesting thing, because usually I hear the big two being Marvel and DC. What do you rank? What four do you rank as the big four? This is interesting. Carl says, I'll have to see if we still have a comic book store in our town. The big one closed down. Cindy is reminding us about Bear Publications, and that you can get merch for Bear Publications. Either go to www.bearpublications.com or bit.ly/bearpub. Grant Lankard, I don't want to work for the... Okay, there we are. Okay, we had a comment up. And Roll Cruise does Animal Eye art, which you can get in the assortment of merch. That's the Bear Pub. Like, everybody thinks that writing Superman is my goal because I love Superman. But do you realize how hard it is to write a character who's been around 70 years? How do I want to respond to this? Because this is a good question. I think if you had the opportunity, you could. I do think Superman is a character that is easy to write poorly. And I also think that the Superman that is written in his own stories is very different than the Superman who is written in team books. And I will say the solo Superman very much tends to be the more interesting rendition, because far more often you get to see the man side. So I think you could probably write a decent Superman story, arc, whatever, as long as you kept your dominant eye on the man side of things. Now, writing a good story and writing a profitable story are two different things. But I think excess, power creep, not just in characters, but in storyline, the scale creep has really gotten to the point where it's very easy to divert and lose fans because, oh yeah, he's fighting so-and-so for the fate of the universe. And it just falls off. I don't care. because it's just too much to wrap my brain around. So what do I care about, someone robs, Ma and Pa Kent. Something happens to them that has nothing to do with, supervillainy or whatever. How does Soups deal with it? They're a storyline where Soups has to deal with things where superpowers aren't the answer per se, or not the obvious answer. Therein you have a thread. But I understand your point. I don't know if I have a parallel. Would I write a title for actual D&D? I don't know. I mean, I'd have to really think about it, because I enjoy doing my own game design and I enjoy the freedom. But boy, there's also something to be said for that. I think it'd be more yeah. So I don't know. Finding your level, and there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want what that offers, even if it makes more money. I respect that, Grant. You've given me thought, and I appreciate that. Pops talks comics on his channel, and Royal Cruise has an art station, artstation.com/Royal Cruise. Good morning, Jody McPhee. I hope you're doing well. You know what? We know what to do when Joe shows up. Get his jam on.
Hi, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the host of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and I want to cordially invite you to watch our show Saturdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. On our show, we will have different guests as well as talk about the comic book industry and pop culture. And every so often, I might actually do a drawing session or a 3D rendering session every here and there. So once again, I want to invite you to watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher right here on the broadcast channel that you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope to see you there, and make certain that you catch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. It's always good to have you on in the chat and on shows. I hope you're doing well. Hey, Jody. And so if you want custom stuff, subscribestar.com/RoyalCruiseArt. Good morning, Jody. How are things for you, Grant Lankert and Joe Bachman? Fill them in. And Victoria Adams walks you through the Book of Job's perspective of multiple cultures. I really need to read that one. I have a bit of a backlog going on right now. Book-wise, I'm going while I let things prattle, because people are talking amongst themselves, which is fine. I have a few books I have to read in the near future. One was a book recommendation by Pedro Eng called The Baker's Boy, which is an older fantasy novel, and I love fantasy. It's not as popular around these parts as other genres, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be your jam. Just don't yuck my yum. So that's coming down the pipe. I got Mandy as part of Christmas. Like, as soon as it hit, I ordered it. The newest Elemental Masters by Mercedes Lackey, The Silver Bullets of Annie Oakley. If you want to see, I'd almost call it urban, but it's urban alternate Earth historical fantasy. Her Elemental Masters series overlaps with fairy tales, and like the version of Beauty and the Beast is phenomenal. I am a little behind, but they're standalone mostly books and historical figures. Read those. They're just great. And one that's coming out. Hold on. I know. I got to talk and promote you guys, but I want to talk about something and promote somebody else for just a second. Kelly Austin. Kelly Austin is she sent me the link for the digital file, and she's sending me the paperback to read and review of the Rembrandt Stratagem, which is a really neat. It feels a lot like a pulpy hybrids For me, it would be a pulpy version of Hybrids if the main character was almost Dr. Fate with guns. And I am really, really looking forward to it, just from the backdrop. Follow Kelly Austin. She's doing really neat things. But that's the third on my list. So I want to read more in 2023. I did a lot of creation, but I did not get I didn't get to recharge my creative bank a lot, if that makes sense, in 2023. Now, there's that. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. We got greetings for Joe. Everybody loves Joe. Whoops. No, I don't need to put Michaela in timeout. She's been good. Things are going good here, Jody. Keeping busy with all the irons in the fire. That's good to hear. The Stellari chips are 95 cents each in small quantities, minimum of 25. Since I bought so many at once, 65 cents each. Interesting. Very interesting. I will have to look into that. And if you want your very own set of Stellari, I have almost a dozen and a half sets left. Just drop me a line. Guys, this is going to be a really neat game. And I'm going to be playing it. My original plan was for my Valentine's Day. My New Year's Eve to be a game night with the cowboy movies in the background. I have to deal with some relatives for a while, and then hopefully I get to have a game night if I can get everything in order. So there may be some Stellari played in the near future. And I'm excited about that. Don't forget, January 2nd, there will be a new episode of Pieces on Vela. Thank you, Michaela. And Trolls in your reading list, Amazon.com/SL Roland. Grant's doing good. Glad to hear it. Custom Toys Studio Hubris on studiohubris.wixsite.com/studiohubris5. And Joe B is asking how Joe D is doing. You're playing the music that puts pep in my step. Yes, here on WNTF, Nevermind the Furthermore. We try to keep things going while you're plowing. They can't all be winners. But we do keep the mojo in the dojo, so it's okay. QuadCon Comic and Toy Show /Cool Stuff has been all the geeky fun you need in the Midwest. Toys, comics, cosplayers, and more fun stuff. https:/QuadCityCon.com. Accountability. I've done a graphical giveaway for New Year's. I got the graphical giveaway for New Year's Day done. Still need to do the email broadcast for it, but will be delivered when we hit midnight on January 1st. That's cool. Also getting ready for the Saturday Countdown show since viewers like you wanted it. That's right, viewers like you. Okay. You consider the big four: Marvel, DC, Image, and Dark Horse. That's interesting because I do like Image, and I like Top Cow, and I like Dark Horse. I read a little Marvel. I tend to like the Marvel DC stuff in animation better than I like it in comics. That might be sacrilege in these parts, but I'm comfortable being hated. God, I'm terrible. So it's neat to see who goes where. Heading back to working on Primetime Saturday Night number 4 on my days off starting tomorrow. Also CGC is my next 10 books for grading. Wonderful. Superman is often a deus ex machina in team books. Yeah, Superman becomes either the conscious or the sledgehammer. Rarely, occasionally both. That or, oh no, someone's controlling Superman again. Man, Soups needs to get like a kryptonite laser-induced tattoo of the supernatural, ward against getting possessed. I can't remember what it's called. Sidney Koepp says, breaks end too soon. Started at 76 for written cartoonist. Don't forget to tip your host. Go to CKOEPP.com to get books, dragons, quilts, and teacher stuff. Then check out Suitable Arrangements and Home for the Manatees on patreon.com/CKOEPP.com. Support Cindy Koepp. She's an amazing woman. Thought Image was parceled out between DC and Marvel a long time ago. Honestly, so did I. A book where everyone writes who reads is seven-figure fiction. A book where Yeah, you're right. How is that hard? It's the difference between writing a character in a continuity as opposed to a story for a character. You have to study the character a lot for continuity. Yes. Oh, this is interesting. Editing aside, Johnny Cage says, and good morning, Johnny. I didn't see you come in. Why let anyone have a say on what I'm writing? Those companies don't even pay well anymore. That is a wonderful point to discuss. Apparently, there is a. I want to take a second because apparently, especially the comics industry, it's getting out that they're just not paying their artists and creators. They just aren't doing it. That's coming up with a lot with who was it? Oh god. A mid-sized comic company, and the name just fell off my brain, just went bankrupt, and they revealed how much they owe. And I guess it's become industry standard to simply not pay your artists. Well, friends, I have a policy, okay? And I'm going to make graphics. I may clip a video, but I have a policy, and I wish to offer it to you. I do the job. I get paid. That simple. I do the job. I get paid. I sign the contract. I fulfill the contract. I complete the contract. That is how I operate, and that's how I think everyone should. If I hire somebody to do the work for me, whatever it is, I pay them. That's why I don't hire people a lot, because I don't usually have the money to do it. It helps to have business partners who do. But that's simple, and it shouldn't be complicated. Folks, the reason AI art is popular, the reason why so much of certain types of art get outsourced to foreign countries. No, well, I won't say foreign countries. Outsourced outside of America. I'm saying that because many of our viewers are from outside of America, and I respect that and I love that. But it's because it's less expensive. They don't want. Now, I certainly don't blame them, knowing the quality of some of the people out there. The world is getting smaller. Pedro Eng springs to mind. Johnny Cage springs to mind. Bonsert springs to mind for whole different sets of skill sets. My man Mike Jimmy Lorsha DeBron. These are incredible creators, and some of them get paid less than they would if they worked doing the same thing in America, and some of them get the work because they get paid less. When I say I want to see people paid more, I mean everybody. Everybody. Because we have lost sight. And I'm getting, brother love's coming out a little bit. But friends, colleagues, we have to handle distribution. We have to handle payroll and all the background. You wouldn't have a comic, okay? Folks, you can't have a comic without artists, writers, letterers, colorists, etc. Without the people producing it. They always say, quit biting the hand that feeds you. It's not that the artists are biting the hand that feeds them, asking for fair pay. It's that there would be no food if the artists didn't hand them the materials. You cannot punish people for making the product that you sell. It's not just, it's not right, it's not righteous, and it needs to be stopped. So what's happening? What is happening? Well, friends, since the big cough hit, something beautiful has started to manifest, and it's scaring folks. More and more independent creators are just doing that. They're like, hands back. Now, if you can make money in the industry, if that's your goal, I do not denigrate you at all. That should be something you can make a go at. It should be something you get paid for. It should be a chance for you as creators to rise, to reach your hopes. But it seems like for many people, it is just that dollar on a string that's just out of reach. It's the carrot that keeps the donkey pulling the cart. And we're getting tired of the game. I get a little tired. I'm a little salty because I've watched it happen to people I know. And I think, look, if Netflix makes a gajillion dollars on, whatever IP they acquire, because friends, we'll understand this. Almost all of us are in a simple business. We create, maintain, and promote intellectual properties. Don't let that fool you. Don't let the joy of being a writer, the passion, fool you from you are creating a product, and a quality product. And quality products, craftsmanship, okay? We live in a world of mass production. Mass production is great, but there will never be a substitute for handcrafted, experience-made products. Whether it's a handcrafted Italian leather shoe or it's a bespoke comic. When an artist, an artisan, puts their passion and experience into making something, it is a higher form of said something than something that's been cranked out and designed to be disposed. We need to remember that. The other thing is we need to remember the customer. Right now, sales have dropped off on a lot of luxuries for a few reasons. Okay? One, the economy is difficult. This time of year is always difficult. We are now at the starting the year in the tight time for the people who overextended on Christmas. This is the long, lean part of winter for a lot of folks. That means if you're accepting someone's dollar, okay, one, you have an obligation to put out the best product that you do. And two, if you're doing work, you deserve to be paid. And you deserve to be paid commiserate to the amount of work and the difficulty of work you put in and the quality of the product. This is crazy. My problem is I see a lot of social support for major companies. The big guys, they can bail out, they can go bankrupt. The government may bail them out, whatever. But the little guys have rugged capitalism. You realize pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, it was said as a joke. It's physically impossible. Now, the funny thing is, danged if we don't do it. Danged if the people on this chat, the people here, and, dare I say myself, haven't had the courage, the tenacity, the self-sacrifice, the steadfastness to hold, not just against the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune, not just against the societal pressure to go, because I grew up in Michigan City, Indiana, and I'm like, I want to be a teacher and an artist, maybe a writer. I want to create things and help people. Don't know how to do that. You know what I got the whole time, dude? Go to the mill. You'll make, you know, 6 figures. Go to the mill. I would have been destroyed working in a mill, physically and mentally. I am not built for that. My physical stats, especially currently, are low, friends. I've got a negative con up the wazoo. I am, in D&D terms, very, very squishy right now. But it hasn't stopped me. And it doesn't stop you. And on top of all that, we're not taking shortcuts. We're out here creating every day that we can. Some days we can't. That's fine. Some days or weeks or months you're dealing life and you put your creations out and you work on it. You know? That's impressive. That's heroic. And don't let anything stop you on that. So if the big companies recognize you and pay you well and give you a good contract, freaking go for it. Take their money and run. But don't be afraid, one, to keep your own IP. Keep that aside. Keep it in a little box. Don't work on it on company time. Don't put it on a company computer, because there are a lot of shady writers I've heard about in contracts where if you work on a company computer or on company time and they can prove it, the company can claim rights to your IP. Don't do it. But if you can get notoriety working for the big guys, go for it. Because I hate to say it, but if Grant could write an arc of Superman, he would get a lot more eyes on him for folks about Beowulf. That is the tragic truth of that. But I'm all for the independence. And that's why crowdfunding is so important. And that's why I'm watching this. I'm watching the direct to digital kind of print on demand market. I'm proud to be part of that. I'm watching how the crowdfunding aspects work. I am part of that now, tangentially, but we're going to see how that goes. The industry, the world is changing. Don't be afraid to change with it. Look, Vela is new, and it is Michaela Jade's bread and butter. She seems to love working on Vela, working in that format. Other people don't. Find what works for you, but don't be afraid to do what you're comfortable with. Blue Teddy says, I'm not sure that working for bigger companies equals more money at the moment. It seems like the successful indie peeps are making more. I'd love to do some modules for D&D and Pathfinder, but I know I'm not anywhere close to get ready for something mainstream gaming. It's interesting because you follow through with now fiction set in Pathfinder and D&D universes. I think it's something I could pull off. There is a huge, okay, we got to talk about that too for writers. The OGL, the Open Game License. Since 3rd edition, you have been able to make D&D compatible games, right? As long as you add at the end the Open Game License. And you follow a few rules. You can't use specific characters and settings, and a few of the monsters as named aren't allowed to be used. But boy, can they get shifted just a little bit. Yeah. That all being said, it was a neat system, and it gave birth to a whole third-party gaming environment. Now, they have delayed for D&D 5e quite some time an OGL. And it was starting to look like they weren't going to do one. And that was scaring a lot of people because it's their bread and butter. Now they're doing it. However, if you make more than so much money, it's like $75,000, you have to report your earnings to D&D to WotC/Hasbro, and then after a certain amount, they get royalties, and they are not saying how much the royalties are going to be. This is scary. Why is this scary? Because they now get to know how much money you're making. So if you become industry, if you're functioning in the industry and you're making as a company enough money, your competitor you're not quite parallel, but you're not quite in competition either. It's a weird place to be. The big boys get to know what you're doing, who's making more, and what. The information is almost worth more than the royalties later. Because Hasbro, through WotC, is trying to make the game D&D a one-stop place. They want to control or eliminate third party. They want you to do digital because you have repeat purchases. They want to change the business model. This is problematic. This is a little scary because it's trying to turn D&D again into a monopoly, a monolith, where if you're gaming, you're playing D&D. And y'all know, friends, how I feel about monopolies and monoliths and people, you go forced conformity. Oh, you know how I get on about that. That's why part of why I've done the base +2 engine for hybrids. It's part of why I did a different engine for Writer's Rule. It's why I have a couple others I've played with in the background. It's why I play games like, yes, Fate. That one's for you, Richie. GURPS and Rifts and World of Darkness games. I play different games, and there are more to learn, more to play with. One, to get a broader experience. Now, what does that have to do with authors who don't? Watch for that. There is a goal. If you can't become a true monopoly, you want to be a brand monolith. What do I mean by a brand monolith? And this is businessy, but we need to talk about the business aspects. We have to stop treating being a writer or an artist as a creative field as not a valid business setup. I know it's not comfortable. It's a little spicy, but guys, that's something we need to all really focus on. If we're going to, if we are going to compete, we have to understand what they're doing. For example, romance novels. There have been times where if you said, oh, you mean Harlequins? The term Harlequin, the brand, which is a very specific type of romance novel, they literally are a bit formulaic, actually incredibly, and it sells well, it's well received, starts to be synonymous with romance novel. And what the implication starts that if Harlequins are romance novels, all romance novels are Harlequins. You see that? That's why I want to play D&D versus play RPGs. That's why I'm trying to train myself to drop the DM term and go back to GM, Game Master, because I am not just a DM. I play a lot of games. I run a lot of games. Many of them are D&D adjacent, but watch for that, because I believe that a monolith exists with superhero comics. If you say comics in America, people think superhero. And then they think the big two, Marvel, DC. Most non-comic book, focused people don't even know about Image or Dark Horse, let alone comics like 2000 AD or fun titles like that, or Arrow, which they should. They're great comics. But Watch for that and prepare. Because what I think is happening is more and more people are fleeing these monoliths because they're intellectual walled cities, and they can be constrictive. Now you may want to be in that walled city, and I support it. You may want to climb up to the tower of the walled city of that, and if you can get up to that sort of penthouse suite level like some people do, wow, is the view amazing. But for some folks, it becomes the equation of, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I find myself associating more and more with the people who aren't. Now, that being said, it makes me value also the opinion of people like Grant Lankard, because I work hard to never get into an echo chamber. Okay? I want to hear opinions. And if everybody I associate with is leaning one way, I will deliberately go, I need to hear over here for just a bit to check. I'm sorry, I kind of went off. Let's hit some comics. Boom. What's up, Nick? Tonight is the night the Mythicals trailer premieres. Nervous, scared, and excited. Hojo, you've been working on the Mythicals for a long time. I am certain it'll do well. Depending on the length of the trailer, you should reach out to me. We might be able to run it here for you. I'll hook you up. Reading the Amazon blurb for Seven Figure Fantasy. It sounds like the advert junk mail I used to get that invited me to join the Illuminati. Aftershock. Thank you. Aftershock Comments is the one you're looking for. And yeah, they crashed and burned, apparently, and just have not paid. And we're talking thousands upon thousands of dollars to creators who put their lifeblood's work into making these comics. That's sickening. I'm going to say that. I don't usually, if I say something's negative, and I'm willing to talk about something negative on this program, it must be severe and relevant as a warning to those of us who are sending in spite of it. Okay? And that's what I want to do. I know I got a little into comics, which is not my usual bread and butter, and heavy into games, which is my bread and butter. But I think the parallels are there, so watch for it in other genres. Hey, Hojo. Good morning, Donna. Blue Tape, been hearing stories about young artists, in particular, getting taken advantage of. They get an email from a big company asking for art samples. They send in, get politely rejected, but they never get the art back and are never paid for it. Yes, I got early in my art career, I thought I signed a contract with a company that to do art for an RPG that was coming out. I did 100+ images. They got the art, the company went away, and then it appeared under a different name with very similar stuff. They basically used me for design. And that
you're shitting me.
Sorry, the garbage truck just came by today, and we weren't expecting it till tomorrow because of the holiday, which means the garbage was up. Okay. But, and they stole everything. I got burned. I've not been financially ripped off like Luke has, but I have been burned several times in things like that. I've done things and not been paid for it. Did logo design for a company that the whole company disappeared. I understand. Aftershock is out of bankruptcy reorganization yet. I doubt they've accepted new projects until other bills are. I don't know. Nick, for most of it, it's holiday debt paying and tax preparation time. That's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm trying to get things in order to pay taxes shortly after getting my W-2s. That's valid too. Woo! Must do some chores. Everyone have a great day. I resisted ranting too many perceptions on which is better as opposed to doing what is best for you and get your work out there. That's a point. I'm going to say I'm a firm believer in doing both if it gets your work out there further and not relying on crowdfunding as a single source of income. Okay, let me clarify. I do not believe in a single source of income for anything. You always want as many income streams as possible. But what you don't want to do is do one, especially that will force you to renounce doing the other. I believe one of the things is whenever possible without surrender, be on good terms with all parties. And I think it's important. You also, you have a lot of things that keep you in a very specific niche area because of your art style and your content. And that is not in any way, shape, or form degrading it. It is simply saying it is. As somebody whose art will always lean likely towards the anime and a little bit of anthro, I then have those niches that I lean into. So I understand having to find your place. Look, we got big comment dump. That's fun. Nick is the nerd version of Teddy Roosevelt. Trust buster. Yeah. I'm sorry. I get passionate because I'm tired of seeing little people have to work as hard as we do and get laid on. Dungeon Masters are fun. Yes, they are. I love DMing. I love running a game of D&D and multiple editions. But I also love the freedom of running games that aren't quite D&D. I love basic fantasy RPG. I will not apologize for that. I also love Trollord Games put out a game system called Castles and Crusades. And that's amazing. I think I have a pulp adventure series that I'm wanting to play. I got the books on clearance a long time ago. I think it's called Amazing Adventures. It's by the same folks who did Castles and Crusades, but it's a pulp, like 30s era, the interwar period. Great fun for, Indiana Jones, The Mummy, 1999. That kind of crunchy, heroic, fun stuff. Yes, okay, this is a good point. So I used to be when you say comics that you think Garfield, Family Circus, Wizard of Id. So in addition to superheroes, since there are no more newspapers, it's solely superheroes. I would not say there are no more newspapers because ironically, the small circulation newspapers are doing quite well. And if you want news that's less biased, I mean, I hate to put it that way, that has less of an agenda, whatever their agenda may be, local newspapers are a great place to go. This is why I like independent television stations or less dependent. I'm a big WGN out of Chicago fan, especially for their news, especially for their morning news. Let's see. Weather is the reason I pushed my watch to the end of February. Need to get that tax money. I understand that too. We all have to do things to make money. Now, I hope I didn't go off on too much of a rant there. I did kind of get a little passionate. It happens and it needs to. Well, small press papers aren't greedy, soul-sucking mother fire truckers. That's point two. They should exactly. It's real simple. I find that small businesses, small to medium businesses, tend to usually have a different approach than the full-on corporate. They tend to be more extreme. They're either really good or really bad, and I've dealt with both. I'll never forget my first job. They would all stand in a circle, hold hands, and literally pray for the gullibility of the customers. I'll never forget that. It was creepy. But sometimes, you know, sometimes you just have to look, and that's why you read your contracts and you be careful. This is why I love doing little contracts with people. I love what I call test projects. I'll do a single art piece, do a small game design project, do a small writing project for an individual. Look at how they handle the contracts, how they handle paying you, how working with them is, and then decide, are you going to do bigger? I've been accused of being profit minded. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I am. I want to make a fair amount for what I do. I love writing. I love guys, and I know how hard it is. And I know I sound ruthless right now, and that's because I think we need to be assertive. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to stop letting people who profit off of our works inflict psychic damage on us for saying, well, I'd like to get paid for my work too. Because that's not wrong. Okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with doing free stuff. I do gift art for people all the time. I write stories for people all the time. I've received a few pieces. I've received a bit of gift art that will be on my wall. Actually, Johnny Cage did this amazing version of me as the fencing ace from the Magic card. That will be up on my wall as soon as my my color printer is set up. My friend Alyssa wrote a wonderful passage about me as a character intro that I have tucked away somewhere because it's really something. But that's by choice. We should not work for free when we aren't necessitated to work for free. Okay? So, I've been rambling for an hour and a half. Found out that we talked business a bit. We got businessy, and I hope you don't mind. A lot of people either were listening to me or left, but let me run an ad to just see where everybody is. And let's see, I've talked about that. I've talked about that. Let's run. Life on Koepp. I'm still here in the background, just working on volume 2. Glad to know you're still around, Joe. Now let me come back to what you mentioned is one of the reasons I don't collab as much. I'm in situations where people see that they can profit off my ideas without doing their fair share. It does destroy my passion to venture out to even offer services until I know what extent of work is needed. Absolutely. The problem I find, and this is something that needs to be discussed too, so we can talk about it, is when you're good at something, it looks easy. Say that again. When you are good at something, it looks easy. And one of the elements that I've worked very hard in sort of speccing into is speed. it's rare I have time to really engross multi-hour projects. I am fast, artistically. Writing, I'm limited by my typing and my speech impediment. So the thoughts are running there. Getting it out, it requires some buffering. But the situation I have found is we have to learn to work together for the things we can't do, and if we can't do it, we got to do it alone. That's the price. But creatives, we're doing it. Okay, that's the other thing. I get spicy because I see all you wonderful people out there doing it. I try to do my own too. I try to get my own piece of it once in a while. But we're out there creating. We're telling the stories we want to hear. We're drawing the art we want to see, or trying to. We're improving and elevating and building each other up. And that is vital. Okay? So let's keep doing that. Now, next Friday, this coming Friday, I want to hear your resolutions. I want to hear your writing resolutions. I want to hear your plans. I want to hear where you're going in 2023 to the best of your ability. I would rather, let's see, when you're really good people don't want to pay you what you're worth, no matter what, because it looks like it takes no effort. Absolutely. We had a problem with our heater, and we had to pay a couple $100, and the guy came down and he walked around and he reached through a hole that we didn't realize, and there was a valve that we couldn't even see. We didn't know was there. And it had simply vibrated closed. And that's why part of the house wasn't getting heat. And he charged, like, it was a couple $100 something. We did not pay him that for the 15 minutes of work it took him to walk around and just check things and go, here, fixed it. We paid him for the retroactive years of effort it took to be good enough to do that. When you hire an artist to do something, you are not hiring them for merely for the hourly rate. Because if you gave a real hourly rate to most artists and creators that was fair, it would be justifiably expensive. And I'm going to tell you, our economy, it's bass-ackward when it comes to who gets paid what. But we need to both excel and strive to be that person whose skills are worth that. I got paid to do a program for the library. And the program, I only charge for a couple programs that I do for the library. One of them is, I do an art program where I bring a stack of, it's a stack of cardstock, which is terrifyingly expensive anymore. My markers and stuff, and I draw the kids. I sit down and I draw the kids. Free art, bam, bam, bam. And I can draw them how they look. I can draw them fantasified, make them more anime, whatever. And I spent 5 hours. I did 24 pictures. Okay. And I made some money. The per picture charge on that, tiny compared, to what it could have been. But I was doing it for the kids and doing it for the library. I just, wanted to get paid too. And I think that's fair. So part 2023 is I plan to do that again. so that kind of library program just works. It does well. I may start doing that in other libraries as my health and nerves elevate. Joe says for 2023, I plan to just keep trying to expand my coding skills, which isn't getting easier as time goes on. Well, I am horribly impressed with what you can do, and anything I can do to help make that process easier on you, let me know. We'll do something. Also, Joe's using what he's learning constantly. He's making not just apps for big stompy robots, but game apps, and I'm going to talk to him about some other things there, where we may talk about some things about game design and some other stuff. Because I want to help. And part of helping is what I'm great at is here's an idea. I am a great idea man. I can't always implement it. Just why I don't usually charge much or it's free. Here's an idea. Your app can do this. How about one that does that? How about one that does this? How about one that does that? Cool. And then I can promote it. And that's how I help Joe out. I want to see what we can do. Richie says, I have a bunch of coding books that I've received from Humble Bundle to let me know what languages you need. I'll see if I have some books to Leafy Mouse your way. That's right there is the spirit of why I do the show. Somebody talks about what they're doing. We talk about how can we help. And somebody pops up to help. This is what I want out of a social network. This is what I want out of a friend group, and this is what I want out of Nevermind the Furthermore. Folks doing just that. Here, do this, it can help. That's why I am proud to promote the people I promote. No hesitation. That's what I want to see. Okay? And for those who are involved with the Leafy Mouse folder, it never goes down. I leave it up. So should anything get into that folder, oops, enjoy. One thing Joe says, I fight fiercely is the claim that my art is holding my IPs, the IPs I own back. It's hard enough to deal with art snobs, but I got this far on my own steam. That's okay. There are two categories of this. Okay. Because there are two ways to look at this. Being me, I have to cover both. I am not attacking or saying anything negative per se. I am simply saying two things. One, absolutely. You have an art style that you like. You enjoy it. Okay? Here. This is not me plugging my book. This is me talking about my art. I did the cover for this. In fact, this is one of the few pictures you can't find common. Now, I have a distinct art style. I like big, bold lines. I like the hand-drawn look. Simple shapes, but slightly more complex layering. Okay? This is very much my bread and butter for big stompy robots. It is not a modern style. It harkens back to much older game looks. I understand that. As such, it dates me for certain projects. If I went to a more for mecha design, and I can. In fact, I may. I actually have a small art design contract coming up for hybrids that I have to reach out to Luke for. Thank you. About how he wants it, because it has to look like it fits in his universe. So sometimes you have to draw things and do things not in your own style. And the thing is, stick to your guns, but be sure of your aim. And if somebody goes, okay, there's criticism. I don't like your art. It's I am going to quote direct. How do I phrase this? Direct complaints, critiques I've heard about your art. Okay, these are not my own, so I want to preface this before I upset anybody with it. That your 3D rendering, because of the system you use, it is very reminiscent of the early machinima adult videos that were done for groups like Newgrounds. I have heard that a lot. There is, it is the stylistic thing is there. That may keep you from certain contracts. If people see that and go, "That's your art," I'm not about it. I'm not yucking your yum. I'm saying that can happen, and you decide, is it worth it to realize that can happen? Your hand drawn stuff, again, you could use a little development. There are always critiques that can be done. Okay, so what I would think you want to do is, you are doing it and you are doing great. I'm not saying you aren't, but also acknowledge that there's room for improvement and take critique from people you respect. Okay, there will always be greater and lesser individuals. Okay, there will always be people not skilled as us. There will always be people more skilled than us, even in what we want to do precisely. That doesn't mean they can do what we do, because a Jody McPhee piece is a Jody McPhee piece. It could be imitated but not duplicated. At the same time, you can improve. Look at Daphne Lage. She's been showing a lot of her art glow up. Now, very, very fundamental. She hit during the 90s in the anthro scene. But it grew and it matured. Don't be afraid to let yourself grow and mature out of stubbornness, contrarianism. Does that make sense? I think so. Don't be contrary if it's going to possibly hurt you. Now, you can say no and be fine. Like I said, I know I personally want to do a big Stompy Robots comic at some point, and it will be done in my art. I know it will not do as well as some other books. That's fine. So I see where you're coming from, but I'm also trying to learn ways to get better while maintaining my art style, proportions, things like that, and just practicing. So don't be afraid to let yourself grow, is how I would respond to that. But it all comes to the don't accept critique from anyone you wouldn't go for it to advice for. Go to for advice. I'm sorry. Don't accept critique from anyone you wouldn't go to for advice, because all critique is unsolicited advice. And I do a lot of that on that channel. On this channel, if it bothers you, let me know. And that's a general open thing. Now, Richie says, I have several $100s. I've invested it for literally thousands of books worth of material that helps charities. And they also have RPG game bundles from time to time. Yeah, Humble Bundle is amazing. I have a few things from there. I'm just chronically broke. And Joe says, I actually have a bunch of books I just bought on there to help create a digital playable version of BSR. I'll be starting those later in 2023 if I'm able to keep on track. excellent. He's helping me live my dream. I had wanted, and this is a great point. I had wanted to do it myself. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to make a big Stompy Robots game, and I actually started it and found that it's not my bailiwick. I'm just not good enough to do it right now. But seeing what Joe Bachman can do, I trust him with my IP. I trust him with making that. And that literally is it's a creation born of my mind, a world that goes back to things I've made since I was a child. And game systems I started heavily working on in 2007. The first official Big Stompy robot was built in 2009. It's up on my wall. I built it for Xander. And it broke a couple times and it was decided to go up on the wall. So there are other things I build for Xander like that. But find the right person and then you're not afraid. I have 2 business partners right now. I say 3. Why do you say 3, Nick? Why do you say 3? Because I realized I have 3. Joey is Joe and Trey. And we are business partners in the games. And we do tables together at cons. And Luke Stone. My wife is part of me. I know this sounds, we are one unit. So there's business partnery there, obviously. But I am honored that I can think of her that way. She is the constant upon which I build my world. Blue Teddy, I would love criticism on art. Good critique is hard to come by. If you want to hear my moderately educated opinion on different pieces, we can set something up. I'd be happy to set something up where either we do it in a private chat scenario, or we could set up a video like this where maybe as an art time with Nick, instead of me drawing the whole time, I do critiques on some pieces and give my take on it. Let me know if that sounds like something that would be interesting. My stubbornness comes from those who won't allow me to grow in areas where they think I lack. Art is a part of my creative process. Stripping that from me makes me not want to create. I understand that. I'm interested in understanding how they won't allow you to grow in areas you lack. How are they stopping you? Because you're intelligent, you're talented, you have the capacity. Do more, be more, and defy them. Now, if it's a matter of they won't pay you because it's market or whatever, then go somewhere else or do it anyway. But at the same time, if I told you, okay, maybe you need to work on your positioning or your perspectives or something like that, technical things like that should never be taken as an insult. I have to work on my body proportions, my perspectives, diversifying my poses. I have a lot of things I need to work on artistically. I tend to, because I focused on speed, rush too much. I know that, so I'm working on it. No, learning your weaknesses is a gift because then you can get stronger. And if they're stopping you, go around them, up, over, through. Adapt, improvise, adapt, overcome, my friend. I love looking at criticism. Well, it should be easy for you for 2 reasons. 1, you're smart enough to learn from it. And 2, you're just so dang good, it's not like it needs to apply. Johnny is one of my favorite artists. He reminds me of a slightly His art isn't quite as hard edgy as Mark Silvestri's, but I can feel it. Okay, that's kind of where I put his art. It's really in that. It leads more Mark Silvestri than say J. Scott Campbell, but it's up there between like Mark Silvestri and a little Jim Lee ish. It's a really neat art style, and I dig it. Um, I'd have to go through a whole bunch of your pieces to make sure I'm seeing consistent themes before I talked about any critique I would make. I would love to get Kat, the rock and roll art goddess, because she's a professional art teacher and other things. She may be able to give a perspective. For the artists in the group, it might be a great way of helping elevate. This is why I talk a lot about art snobbery. Some stories wouldn't exist if we all waiting on what most people think is polished work. Absolutely. This is why I say do it yourself. The trick is being able to go, is this just people being insulting? Or is this a technical critique? So what I say when somebody says something negative about any of my work, first, thank you, because it means you looked at it. Secondly, it means that you care. Now, why you care gets interesting. If it's positive, if you're trying genuinely to help, give me what's called constructive criticism. Tell me in a way that I can learn and adjust the problem if I agree that it's a problem. Make it measurable. Let's see. But create anyway. I would love that. Either, and maybe it's a stream people on chat might chime in too, so that makes me lean away more. Yeah, we could definitely set something like that up. It might not be this week because with the holiday things are a little scrambled, but shoot me a message on either Facebook or Twitter, because I think I can't remember which one I know you through. And we can I'll set up a StreamYard and we can do a critique day on, we'll have you select a number of your images and we'll go through them and we'll just do our best to critique them civilly. I think the Art Time with Nick crowd could handle that, and it might be educational for you if that's something you find enjoyable. Johnny says, I looked at Silvestri, I was like, all right, hit the brakes. I don't want that many lines. And that's really what it feels. It feels like a cleaner Silvestri. But that's what we do. I love, I am not going to hide how much I love J. Scott Campbell. First off, Gen 13 was phenomenal. It was a superhero book that never felt like a superhero book to me. And what he did and what he did when he did stuff with the Authority, just amazing work. And I love the way he draws. But I do wish there was a little more diversity in the body type of his women. They're all gorgeous, but they can look a little samey. Now you get a bit of it, but I'd like to see more. Just because I find, especially I enjoy drawing attractive female characters. But for me, attractive female characters is a very widespread of relative body proportions and styles and implied character traits. To break it down into fantasy, keep it simple fantasy. The short, curvy Gabo is one kind of attractive. The tall, muscular Oni girl is a whole nother different type of attractive. the slender dancing elf chick is another type of attractive. And I am using fantasy species in place of body type because if I say a fantasy species, people don't get as offended. And I can use that as a parallel. So it's like an attractive hobbit character is going to look different than an attractive elven character, which is going to look different than, say, an attractive human character or an attractive orc character or whatever. By breaking it from the human species, you can look at the angles more and go, oh, I like this body type better than that in men and women. So I want to see more diversity in that. I'm, of course, heavily anime influenced, heavily anime manga trained. So it's sort of what used to be called fusion is where I want to lean into that place between the two. I just need to slow, my big critique, both for others and myself, is I need to just slow down and create. And my live stream format makes me create more and I get more product out of it. But I haven't really gotten to do the fairly selfish, just sit down and draw. And guys, my writing is the same way. It's the same theory. The approach to writing nonfiction educational prose is very different than writing poetry or writing fiction, long format or short story. And I'm starting to feel that to reacquaint what feels right. It's just like going through the motions in martial arts training. What style, what motions fit you? It's all the same. It's different manifestations, but it's all the same source. It's all the same root. Does that make sense? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I've been going for 2 hours. I have some family things to do. And frankly, I need to get some lunch. I'm hungry. So, guys, it has been a lovely program. I hope this has been entertaining and educational for you all. Let me see. Are there any major commercials? I tried to run the majority of my commercials. I'm going to run Frog G's trailer because he's still available to get it. And as someone else who was shadow banned unjustly, I want to promote him. So I'm going to throw that out.
We've all read the story. The brave hero conquers the diabolical villain and rescues the damsel in distress. But this is real life. And in real life, stories don't always have happy endings. Frog G, the story of a man turned into a frog by a voodoo priestess sent on a mission to kill a god by death itself. Now our hero must roam the underworld to regain his humanity and win back the woman he loves.
Frog G is somebody who as an individual, hops in a lot of chats to promote people he's barely met. He is a source of kindness and support throughout a lot of communities. So when he does a project, much like City Cap, I am honored to help promote it. Let's see what we have in the comments. I love critiques like that, Nick. That gives me focus. What I hate is you're not here. You're not there. Look at Jim Lee and copy that. Here, follow what Rob Field does. No, that's not critique. That's saying I want you to reproduce, and you'll never do that. When I talk critiques, and as you will find, I talk very, very mechanical. I'm not sure I like the proportion. I don't like the frame, the flow of a frame on a comic, this character design is too busy, or it's like I had one person, beautiful art, gorgeous art of this fighting character, but she had spikes on her forearms. And some were pointed inward, and she had a bare midriff. And as somebody who's done enough martial arts, and especially Western martial arts, and fighting with weapons and armor, it broke it for me. because there's no way she would have full movement without constantly shredding her own sides. That sort of thing is what I talk about. Not, I don't like your style. I may say, okay, your proportions are this way. Are you doing it on purpose? I know, for example, that you use exaggerated proportions. Your busty women tend to be very busty. Their derrieres tend to be very thick. I have no problem with that. Nothing wrong with some junk in the trunk, and nothing wrong with a little bit of Pixar mom action going on artistically. But when we talk about layout for colors or whatever, maybe we can have that conversation. It might be. I'm more than willing to have that kind of conversation on what I am seeing as a reader and an artist myself, and see if it can help you. Because that's my goal. I don't want to be better than anybody. I never want to hold people down. I want to build people up. Okay? And Joe says, time for me to hop. I need to get some lunch. See you all. Have a great day. See you on Friday. And if you can make it, I'll be on Luke Stone Studios tomorrow. I don't know what we're talking about. At 9 a.m. Eastern. That's my early day. And it usually goes, we try to get done between 2 and 3 hours, but it depends on who we're promoting if somebody kicks on. Because that show can get half shill show. And how spicy the content gets. I will warn you, it is a much spicier show. And I am the token moderate to token liberal in there. I've been told by some people I should be careful about associating with Luke and some other people, but I'm often told about I should be careful about who I associate with by many outside groups, and an artist should be able to travel in all circles to learn the human experience. And just because we do comic work and commercial work doesn't mean we should not have the same spirit as the classic fine artists, in my opinion. And same for the writers. I may not be Shakespeare, because I'm not, but Shakespeare wasn't Shakespeare. Shakespeare was the HBO of his day. And just about every play starts in a bed, a bar, or a brothel, I believe, or a battle. There are 3 B's. Anyway, it was entertainment for the masses that people have tried to almost deify, because it's incredible entertainment for the masses. But don't let that stop you from creating. And don't let that you can be better stop you. That's one I fight. That's why I'm cranking out. I have a little project I started last night where whenever I have a couple minutes, I am doing a page of hand-drawn, hand-lettered comic on my phone, formatted to fit my phone, with just a little, stylus dude in a couple minutes, just to get back into the flow of things. I'll be putting the videos I've done for the first 2 pages of that out. It is not high quality. It's not meant to be. It is a practice. It is a study. But if it's enjoyable, we'll keep it. And agreed. Hard to depict the realistic world if you're sticking your head in the sand and ignoring half of your own. Yeah. That's why I have opinion, why I have associations mechanically, why I'm willing to walk up and say, hi, I don't agree with you politically, but you're civil. I'd like to hear your opinion. Or why? I love asking why. Why is a wonderful question. And keep asking those questions, folks. It's time, I think, though, for us to take that step back and go, keep creating, keep drawing, keep doing what you love, keep writing. Because as long as you're writing and drawing and publishing, you can edit it, but you can't edit a blank page. And I will see you all tomorrow for Nerd Bacon on Luke Stone Studios, YouTube, and a few other places. And Friday, right back here for another episode of Nevermind the Furthermore. With that, I love y'all. Stay safe, stay warm.